Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Mindset Minutes. So last week I was going on a walk with a friend of mine, and we were heading out into Central Park. We grabbed some coffees, and along the way she pulls out 2 fortune cookies. She's like, "Here, I know you love these." All right, it's true, I do. And so we're opening, excited to see what our big fortune of the day is. And I couldn't tell you what mine was. It really did not make sense. It was one of those. Something about bringing water to the river. Probably some deeper meaning in there, but I was messing it. But then she opened hers and it said, "Follow your bliss." And I got really excited. I was like, that's so great. And she just rolled her eyes and just tossed it in the trash. So she's just like, ugh, who even knows what that is anymore? And I kind of stopped in my tracks. It almost made me sad. I thought, wow, is that really true? Like, do you have no idea what your bliss is? Have you stopped looking for it, stopped searching for it? I think so many of us, the last year and a half, almost 2 years, have been much more in survival mode, right? Just trying to get by or pivot or figure out what's next or power through, whatever it is. And while that's fine for the moment, eliminating the quest for your bliss is leaving out a really big hole in your heart and soul. And so I wanted to just shed a little light on why it's so important, what it is, and how it really even became a term. Back in the 1950s, the great mythologist Joseph Campbell coined the term "follow your bliss." And I love the story of how he got there. He was studying Sanskrit, which he was a huge fan of, and in that they said transcendence begets transcendence. And in order to get to that brink of the ocean of transcendence, you need 3 things. And it was Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat is being or truth. Chit is full consciousness. Ananda is bliss or rapture. And for him, he's like, well, I don't know if I've got my whole being. Don't know if I'm fully conscious, but I do know I can follow bliss. And that was where he decided for himself to find his transcendence, or to get to the, as they say, that brink of the ocean of transcendence. He decided to follow his bliss. For him, it was reading. Initially, he said it was Indians, and then it grew into a whole plethora of mythology and its relationship to religion and psychology, and he really truly made a great contribution in that area. And it is important. It's a piece of our being. It's a part of what gives us fulfillment, growth. It's very much what I would almost call a cousin of the flow state. So what needs to happen in order for you to find your bliss? One is to just be aware, be conscious. What brings you joy? What brings you happiness? What lights you up? And here's a real important distinction. It's not just immediate gratification. You know, you might love just sitting down and watching your favorite reality show, eating a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and that can be really fun. That's your guilty pleasure for a night. But it is different from bliss. Bliss is a deeper, soulful place that's a compelling pull, something that you yearn to learn more. You want to know more about it. You're kind of excited about it. You could talk about it all day long. I had a guidance counselor in high school who I loved that question. She was like, if you go into a bookstore or a library, what section do you go to? And for me, it's always, without fail, I've beelined for self-help. And I could sit there all day long. I could read and never get tired. For other people, it's business or history or cooking or children's development or even children's books, whatever it might be. Everybody's got their own personal bliss. And that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. We're searching. So cool to have your fun things that you like to do, but it's not necessarily that. It's a little deeper. So just be aware, be conscious. Notice in conversations, where do you kind of lean in? Where do you focus? Where could you talk to somebody all day about it? If you could interview somebody, what would you want to know about? That's where you'll start to uncover your bliss. And it doesn't have to be something that you do all day long. It doesn't have to be your job. Amazing if the two can come together and be integrated. And it doesn't have to be. You can still find it elsewhere. It's not something you have to spend every waking moment doing. Again, the more you do, hey, great, the better it is. The deeper you'll go and the further you'll get. Second is just follow that. Really go into it. And Joseph Campbell had a wonderful saying, follow your bliss and the universe will open doors for you where there were walls. And it's really true. It's suddenly this, you'll start to notice, you'll hear a conversation, or you'll find something in your email, or you'll hit upon a book. I remember being in a bookstore once, honest to God, a book literally fell off the shelf. Crazy. I was like, okay, universe, I guess I'm supposed to read this one. So just notice those kinds of things that happen and allow that door to open. He said he used to get a little superstitious about it because he's like, the more I would follow, the more strange coincidences would happen. And so not to set yourself up to like be, oh my goodness, I need to have a coincidence happen right now, but just get curious, dig deeper, and know that true bliss doesn't necessarily mean, Pollyanna happy, happy, happy all the time. It's, again, not that immediate gratification. It's a deeper thing. So you might hit up against some stumbling blocks or some walls or some struggles. That is much like the flow state, right? It's not so hard that it kills your spirit, but it's just hard enough that you're like, oh, this is a challenge, and it might rise and fall. You'll hit up against some things where it's difficult, and then all of a sudden you'll have a win and a breakthrough and an aha or understanding. So know that that's part of the journey, part of that blissful process. And then finally, allow it to evolve. Just take little steps and just see where it leads. You might follow down that path and it seems it's this direction, and all of a sudden it'll take some interesting detour. Just again, follow. If the energy is guiding you there, allow it to. Give it full permission. No judgment. There's no judgment in bliss. So it's not a should. It's not something you're supposed to do. It's not something that's, somebody's going to approve of, or it fits into your daily rigorous schedule. It might, but it doesn't have to. It's really something that just speaks to your heart. It speaks to your soul. It gets you deeper. It gets you closer to joy, to fulfillment, to greater growth, into really having the ability to shine your light. So it is worth the time. It is worth the energy. And if you've forgotten what that blissful thing might be for you, just take a moment and notice. Allow your heart or your soul to guide the way, and allow all of that to unfold to let you shine.